Hello guys, it's so good to be back again. We had a few interviews and a few guests on our channel, so it's so good for me to be back again and to speak to you guys again. I'm very excited. Feel free to go watch some of the videos and some of the interviews that we had with other guests, and I'm excited to announce that there are other guests coming up and they're going to share their story, they're going to share their wisdom, and they're going to share their knowledge. And we are doing this because there are people that consists of knowledge and of wisdom that we and many other people need, and that's why I am bringing them up on this channel to help you and to encourage you and to teach you. So today I'm very excited to talk to you about some thought patterns or some thinking patterns that are not good and that are not healthy for you. What are these patterns? What are these thoughts? I don't know if you guys ever had this craving for a certain food that tastes good, but it is not good for you, and while you eat the food, you feel very good, but a while after, you really don't. I remember when I was younger, we had this place in our city that was a buffet, and I kind of didn't eat for a while because I wanted to get hungry for this buffet. And when I went to the buffet, I ate a lot of food. Obviously, I was hungry, starved myself a bit because I wanted to go to this place. And there's a certain food that's one of my favorite foods, and at the end of the evening, at the end of the buffet, when I was already full, I discovered that they had this food, and I was already full, but I just decided to eat of it because they had it, and it was one of my favorite things. At the end of that evening, I felt very full. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel good. The next morning when I woke up, I felt uncomfortable and I didn't feel good. Sometimes our thought patterns work like that. Sometimes our thinking, sometimes our decisions are like that. We are in a situation, we think a thought, we make a decision. Sometimes these decisions might make us feel good while we are doing it, but at the end of the day, on the long run, it's not very good for us. What are some of the thoughts that we think? What are some of the thoughts that we ponder on that we believe might be good for us, but it's not? The first one that I want to give you today is, they must, then I will feel. This is the kind of thinking and this is the kind of behavior that says, if somebody else does this to me, if somebody else can just be nicer to me, if somebody else can just reply to my message, if somebody else can just encourage me, if somebody else can just stop discouraging me, then I will feel better. That is going back to external locus of control. That is again saying, I need this external environment. I need other people's validation. I need other people's thinking about me. I need what other people say about me to be good for me to feel good. Now, I'm one of those people. I don't like it when somebody says bad things about me, and I think all of us are like that. I love it when somebody says good things about me, and I know all of us are like that. But if you are going through something, if there's something in your thought patterns, if there's something in your feeling that's not right, maybe if somebody validates you, maybe if somebody says something good about you, you might feel good while they are doing it, but later on you will just feel bad again. Just like that buffet, while I'm doing it, it feels good, but later it didn't really help that much. So I do think an encouraging word is a good thing. I do think wanting an encouraging word from somebody else is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But if we depend on that, if what I feel is always determined on what others think about me, what others have to say about me, it's going to be a very short-term feeling, but in the long run, it's not going to help. Albert Ellis said, there are three musts that hold us back. I must do well, you must treat me well, and the world must be easy. My point is, it's great if somebody says good things about us. It's great if somebody else encourages us. I want people like that in my life. I want to be a person that encourages other people. But the whole idea of they must, then I will feel is not going to help you in the long run. In the long run, what's going to help you is what you think about yourself, the ideas that you have about you, self-love. That's the thing that's going to help you in the long run. So before I go on, I just want to encourage you to like, to subscribe, to leave a comment. This will help this message to get to other people, and also share this message. And I also want to say, I do live sessions or sessions on social media platforms such as Zoom, on emotional intelligence in the workplace, the influence of mindset in the workplace. I also do group sessions and individual sessions. If you want to know more, please feel free to email me. The second one I want to give you is when you assume what others think about you. And we normally do that when we're not at a great space in life. We normally do that when things aren't going the way it should, and we normally do that when we don't think about ourselves the way we should. Somebody else is just a bit off, somebody else doesn't reply to our messages, somebody else doesn't greet us or treat us the way we thought they should have. Then we assume they must be mad at me. We assume they're going to leave me. They don't want to be friends with me anymore. They don't want to talk to me anymore. They must think bad about me because they treated me like this. You assume what others think about you. You assume what others believe about you, and you assume how others feel about you. This is another thing that has a very negative effect on your emotion, on your feeling, and on your thinking patterns. So in this situation, we must acknowledge, I might not feel as good today. I might not feel great this week. Situations, external situations and external circumstances weren't in my favor this week as much as I wanted it to be. And now I might feel a bit more vulnerable, and now I might feel a bit more sensitive. So don't assume that everything that other people are doing, if it's the way you didn't want them to do it, like they have a problem with you, they're mad at you, or they're going to run out of your life. The third thing that I want to give you is ruminating and overthinking. Ruminating and overthinking is another thing that's a thinking pattern that's not healthy. And ruminating and overthinking is also something that we do because we think it's going to make the situation better. We think if I can just think about this thing over and over, if I can just assume the worst, this is going to make me feel better, or if I can just figure this thing out, it's going to make me feel better. But at the end of the day, ruminating and overthinking on the long run can put a lot of pressure on us, can put a lot of pressure on our emotions, can put a lot of pressure on our thought life, because it's this thing of repeating the thing the whole time. And we might think this is going to make me feel better. We might think this is going to help me. Ruminating and overthinking puts a lot of pressure on a person. Very important in that situation to stop, to refocus, and to calm yourself, because something that ruminating and overthinking does is it takes the calmness away and it puts the pressure on. Dr. Julie Smith said, overgeneralization is when one thing goes wrong and we assume the worst. It is one of those days. Nothing is going my way and it never does. Everything is going against me. That's what we do when we ruminate, when we overthink. We take something that's not that big and we make it bigger than what it actually is. That's overthinking. Ruminating is taking this thing and thinking about it over and over and over again. It's again one of the thought patterns that puts a lot of pressure on our emotions. The next thing that I want to give you is I feel it, therefore it must be true. This is a place where we always trust our feelings. Because I feel like this must be the truth. Now, I want to give you something that if you understand what I'm saying right now, this can help you with a lot of turmoil, stress, anxiety in your life. Everything you feel is not necessarily true. There might be some truth in it, but just because it's a feeling doesn't mean that's reality. It's important to listen to your feelings. It's important to see what truth there might be in what you feel, but very important, everything you feel is not true. Things that can play a role are past experiences, cultural beliefs, perceptions. Past experiences, cultural belief, perceptions are not always 100% true when we put it into the situation that we are. Past experience, because I've experienced this in the past, now I'm experiencing a similar thing, a similar emotion comes up, and we think the situation is the same, but it's not always the truth. Cultural beliefs or perceptions, these are things that I believe within me, and these are things that I hold dear, and it's very, very important. But the question is the situation, the belief, and the perception. Is it all coming together, and is it all true? Many times it's not. So I might, for instance, believe I did this, but people who are with me might believe that what I'm doing is wrong, or I might believe that what I'm doing is some kind of a punishment, and that puts a lot of pressure on me. And we must always ask ourselves the question, if I'm feeling this, is it really true? If I'm feeling this, does it really connect with my past experience or with my perception? So the thing that I want to say, what you feel is not always true. It's important to deal with your feelings, but always know your feelings doesn't necessarily connect to the external reality, because there might be some internal perceptions and beliefs and experiences that might have an influence, and all of those things are not necessarily 100% true all the time. Final thing that I want to give you, because it's a habit, that is who I am. Habits are very important things, and I think depending on the study or the research that you are looking at, we can see that habits control at least more than 50% of our lives. Some studies says it's more than 80% of our lives is controlled by habits. But just because it's a habit for you, just because it's something that you do habitually, and just because it's something that you do over and over, doesn't necessarily mean that is who you are. By the right thought patterns, by the right meditation, by the right belief system, bad habits can be changed. Bad habits can be broken, because a habit is something I do. A habit is not who I am all the time. In the movie Cinderella, they said just because it has been done doesn't mean it should be done. Just because this habit is something that I repetitively did doesn't mean this is the habit that I'm going to continue doing for the rest of my life. And just because this habit is something that I've been doing doesn't mean this is who I am. By changing my thought patterns, by changing my decisions, by changing my meditation, I can change my habit. Because, and this is very important, I can tell it what to do. It doesn't always have to tell me what to do. And by saying I tell it what to do, yes, it takes some practice. It takes some habitual decisions to change a habit. It takes some time to change a habit, but you are still in control to say, listen, this is where I want my life to go. So I want to encourage you. There are many things that we do that might feel good at the moment. There are many things that we do, thinking patterns that might feel good at the moment, but in the long run, they're not necessarily good. Well, thank you for listening to this message from Mind Prosperity. Thank you for watching. We love you, and we will see you soon again. Goodbye.